There we are. Welcome. Power of you.
You're welcome.
Hey, we're back. We're
Yeah,
back.
yeah, we are definitely back. Good to see you, Dr. Bartlett. Good to be here.
Good to be home. Good to be back.
Yeah, I know. At that ragged edge of a 1:30 morning. And
coming back from Vegas. And filming season 9 of Office Hours.
That's right. World famous with Mr. Meltzer himself.
Yes, and who else did we have going on? Brett Power was there. So we had
cool.
Yeah, so I had the crew.
Nice.
And,
That has been a lot of fun. A lot of whirlwind around. We're not built for those things anymore, but it's fun to go do.
It's fun to go do every now and then.
Yeah.
So what are we doing today?
Today, I'm loving this because we've been talking about leadership styles. And one of the things that came out of last week's conversation from a leadership styles perspective was people. Getting the right people in your organization. So today we're going to talk about who is on the bus.
Yep.
And not the act of hiring, not the act of going and getting things, but the conversation today about using mindset, which we happen to talk a lot about, to prevent you from doing the wrong thing.
Oh, that part.
Oh. In all of the hubbub, how do you not? Maybe that's how do you not?
Yeah, how do you not?
Right?
Which, yeah, you'll understand what that means when we start talking.
I know.
How do you not?
How do you not? I don't know.
Well, let's just take a look at this. So
let's do it.
I'm Blaine Bartlett, and my partner in crime here.
I'm Doland White. And combined together, if you're listening to us for the first time, you're looking at about 90 years of combined experience in a lot of different stuff. We won't get into the experience thing, but this we often talk about the Blaine. And one of the reasons why this is so important today, I think, is we talk about what a company, what an organization is. It's a collection of people in relationships.
Yep.
And boy, if you mess those relationships up,
there's hell to pay.
Oh my. Yeah. You get the wrong monkeys.
Yeah.
It's a big challenge. So this is a straightforward, I think, today, although as straightforward as we can make it possibly whenever you and I present.
Yeah, because this is actually a fairly complex topic in one sense.
Oh, yeah.
Back to your point about, all an organization is a collection of people in a relationship.
Yeah.
The obvious relationship notion here is the interpersonal, my relationship with you, my relationship with my boss, my relationship with John sitting next to me and Mary across the hall.
Yeah.
Those are the smallest pieces that come into play here. We also have relationships with jobs, relationships with values, relationships with vision. I mean, we have relationships with all of these. I have a relationship with my chair, with my parking place, with my keyboard. These are all relational dynamics. And if these relationships are working pretty good, you got a pretty good shot at being successful.
Right.
If you get the wrong person on the bus that is represented as your organization, everything can be set up to work well, but if they've got a bad relationship with fill in the blank,
right,
and you don't have a mechanism by which you can address that, there's all kinds of hell to pay.
Oh yeah, the ripple is phenomenal. Not only culturally, culture, climate, outcomes, for the ideal, all of it gets impacted. And not that you're going to be perfect at it at every time you go out, because you will be imperfect, because you will discover things. But it's very, very important. That word relationship embodies
a whole bunch of stuff.
That's a lot of power right there. Relationship. Yeah.
So typically, again, organizations are complex, and I don't care if it's just your family. I mean, yeah,
Right.
just your family. Yeah, I can't think of a more complex organization than a family system. Quite frankly, all
Yeah.
kinds of moving parts there. Uh,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Familiarity breeds contempt, as well as familiarity brings all kinds of other stuff with it too. Uh,
Indeed.
and
Yeah.
with the business, yeah, people would like to think that the business is just the business. This is just business. Don't take it personally. People take all kinds of stuff personally.
Oh my gosh.
You moved my chair. What was that about? Who gave you permission to touch my stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or more or less sit in my chair.
Or yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
my chair.
Old Star Trek thing here. Yeah, don't sit in the captain's chair.
Right. Exactly. Bad juju. Don't do
Bad
that.
juju. Unless you're invited to sit in that chair, you don't sit in that chair. There's a
Right.
relationship involved. So,
Yeah.
which speaks to one of the 4 blind spots here. The job title defines the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
No. No. Very quickly. Yeah. Exactly. It's funny because we have this propensity, and I think a lot of it, Blaine, is because business. There was a push back into the business, and we'll talk about this in the definition of leadership. That militaristic idea. There's a hierarchical approach.
Yep.
Therefore, if I have that title defines who I am.
I am
Defines
the
my
boss.
right. Job title defines the role, and it is not. It is not. That is not the case.
Yep. Yeah. And if you default to thinking that the title is going to carry the game, you're going to find
No,
yourself in a world of hurt again real quickly here.
no. You could take your title and $3 and go to Denny's and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah. I come home at night and my grandkids, if they happen to be here, don't care that I'm the CEO of my company.
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Who are you again?
And why are you here?
So,
No.
the question here is really about what role does this person need to play in terms of our culture, our objectives, and our future? And
Right.
roles will shift over time. If they don't shift over time, something's broken. Yeah, man,
Yes.
honest to God, it is, because your organization needs to grow. And if it's growing, roles will change.
Oh yeah. Which is a great tease for next week when we talk about seasons. But that's just a
Absolutely. Yeah.
shameless plug. But no, I love that because that's one of the things I think that's in business. And I think a lot of leaders, as you listen to this, leaders, your blind spot. That's why this is number one. One of your biggest blind spots is defining it by the title, insisting that the title will that's a stake in the ground. This position must exist without contemplating the role. And a year from now, yeah, the title may exist, but the role will be different.
Yep. And when we get into in just a moment here, defining what leadership actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leaders that default to thinking their title makes them the leader. Nope, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because leadership is all about influencing. It's not about command and control. Yeah.
Right.
It's not about command and control.
No.
And I look at our current political environment and it's kind of like, okay, just because you got the title, don't believe that a whole lot of people are going to follow you just because of the title.
Yeah. Title does not equate follow.
No, it does not.
Title does not. I like number 2, the skills matter more than traits. And I think I've been guilty of that, which is starting with, what do they need to know to have this job?
Exactly. Yeah.
What do they need? What do they need? Well, they got to have it's the typical, well, they got to have an MBA. They got to have this, and it is not about the got to have.
Right.
It is separate the thinking there between the difference between inspiration and traits from skills. Skills can be trained. Inspirations and traits cannot.
Exactly. That's whole world of hurt will get you there if you stop, paying attention to who's the person that's in the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Yeah, and just a real quick anecdote, when I was doing a
Sure.
lot of work at Starbucks, and I spent about 5 years, roughly 5, 6 years working with them in their store development group. And I remember interviewing one of the uh, franchise managers. Yeah, not the franchise managers, one of the store managers. And this is when they were really exploding in growth. And this goes back a number of years. But I asked her, what difficulties are you working with right now? She said, I'm having trouble, getting baristas. And I'm going, well, I know you can train people to to pull a shot. This is not rocket science. She's going, well, that's true. All of that's true. I've got and she pointed over to her desk. And she had a stack of papers. She says, I've got 70, 76, 77 applications here for this position. So, well, what's the problem in filling it? She says, I can't find the right person. What do you mean the right person? I'm looking for somebody that will fit in the culture that we're trying to develop in this store. And I have
so
not
good.
found that person yet. When I find them, I will train them how to pull a good shot.
So good.
Who's on the bus?
Yeah.
Goes back to culture, your objectives, and the future. Yeah, kind of all get rolled into that attitudinal descriptor.
Yeah, I love that's awesome. That's a good story because that is from that position. Anybody can pull a shot.
Yep.
I love that idea, but it is the person I'm looking for that's pulling the shot because there is a relationship that occurs between them and the client.
Absolutely, and the team members and all of that stuff.
It's all got to stitch together. And then I like 3. Experience predicts performance. And we talk about this.
We do, yeah.
What got you here won't get you. What got you here won't get you there.
Yep.
It's a frequent conversation. You assume past experience equals future success. And you forget about capacity, desire, adaptability, alignment. There's a lot of other words that go there.
Yep. And then with the rate of change that's going on in the world today, guaranteed what got you here will not get you there because things are just changing too fast. So they may have experience, whoever they may be, they may have experience in doing something a certain way that was really relevant even 6 months ago.
Right.
But something has changed in the mix. Do they have the ability to shift and learn again? This is where becoming a beginner becomes how do you create sustainable success? Developing the capacity to continuously start over.
Right.
I want people on the bus in my organization that are willing to learn.
That is such an important part because it is that capacity is what allows you to. You're being taken. I hear a lot of people talk about, well, they got to have the entrepreneurial spirit, and they got to all these. Here's my wish list of all this stuff, but it all comes to capacity.
Yep, capacity to learn, to start over, and we can do a whole series on that one too, which we may do because
we've
got a whole toolkit developed around that we'll talk about later, but.
Yes,
which kind of leads into this number 4 area here in terms of a blind spot. We treat hiring or staffing as a hiring decision. We need people. Now the context is, the mindset is, it's simply a question of hiring. So let's go out and post the job and get people to apply, and then we'll call them and make a decision. It's not a hiring decision. Staffing is a cultural decision. Anybody you bring in onto the bus is going to impact directly your culture.
Yeah.
It's either going to elevate it or it's going to dilute it.
Yeah. Yep.
Go back to that Starbucks hire.
Right. And I love that fact that she was, and kudos to whoever that was, but kudos to, I can't find the right person. Yeah, I got people that can pull a shot.
Yeah.
But I can't find the right person.
Yeah.
That they had made the leap from hiring decision to culture decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. Staffing for her was a cultural decision.
Yeah. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff. We are smart guys. I don't know.
We
Just
actually
thank
are.
God this is being recorded. We could say that. So,
Yeah. Pat ourselves on the back here.
yeah, you got number one. Do number one.
Okay, so when you got again, we're looking at getting the right person on the bus. We haven't talked about getting them in the right seat or any of that other stuff. I mean, Jim,
Right.
off of the hat here to Jim Collins, good to great. Get the right person on the right bus.
Yeah.
But there are symptoms when you've got people that are not a good fit any longer on the bus, and that isn't necessarily meaning you need to get rid of them or move them out or anything else. It may just mean they're in the wrong position. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into play with this here. But, when you've got people in place here that begin to become roadblocks, decisions slow down, or decisions actually stall because people are not acting as if they have autonomy. They aren't acting as if there is ownership of the decisions that are being made. They're waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. They're afraid to stick their head out, turtling, just kind of, they kind of, what's going on in this organization? Well, everybody's turtling. It's kind of their heads are pulled in. Friction builds, trust is going down, meetings drag on because people are, beating dead horses and they're going around all kinds of circles. Clarity disappears. Progress just grinds. That's we're looking at symptoms here. This is one of the telltales. This is one of the most obvious ones that you're going to find. Decisions slow down and or stall completely. Have we made a decision on this yet? Nope, not yet. I mean, at the risk of being political, just for a moment here, and dating this just a bit, because we'd like to have these things kind of be evergreen. But the U.S. Congress today, particularly the U.S. Senate today, refused to move forward with continuation on healthcare subsidies. So millions of people are going to now have their healthcare costs, their healthcare premiums just explode after the first of the year. Now, what I'm talking about here, decisions slow down or stall completely. We've got folks in Congress that are not, they shouldn't be on the bus, quite frankly. They shouldn't be on the bus. Why they're on the bus, that's another conversation entirely. But you start looking at this from the perspective of symptoms. And if you're looking at an organization, and government is an organization, if you don't have the right people on the bus, things slow down. Things will come to a screeching halt. Biases come in. People want to be right rather than look at what's working. All of those sorts of things come into play here. Friction builds, meetings drag on, clarity disappears. And it's kind of like, God, are we ever going to get through this? It's slogging through mud. That's symptom number one.
Yeah, which hooks into number two.
Exactly.
When things become negotiable, right? And when expectations blur, excuses slip in, standards quietly erode. What happens is those mechanisms, those standards that we put in place get set aside because it becomes a point of negotiation. And now we're much more concerned with protecting, and you touched on this, just to kind of extend on number one a little bit, protecting my decision to be right.
Yep.
Which is where I'm right. Therefore,
I'm right.
I'm going to move to a protective stance, which is where excuses slip in.
Yeah. And I've got the title. I've got the title. So how dare you accuse me of not being accountable?
Yeah.
The buck stops here unless it gets passed off.
Yeah.
And the negotiation is to pass the buck off, so I don't have to own the decision that was made.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Yeah, man.
I
left the room.
I told them it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So, but nobody ever listens to me.
And then what ends up occurring is, your true high performers, the ones that you really want to have, holding that high bar, setting that high bar, they start to disengage. They start to go, I'm looking around here and I'm going, you hear the sucking of the teeth. And it's kind of like,
Love that
Trust
sound.
is gone, energy's out the window. People start wondering if this is still the right place to give their best. Is it,
Right.
is this where I want to hang out, given who these idiots are that I'm finding myself associating with?
Yeah.
And I mean idiots, not derisively, but it's the
No.
behaviors that are tolerated. The behavior, because our hiring decisions were a staffing drive, not a cultural drive.
Right. We let her anyway. We're going to touch on that.
We're going to touch on that one. Yeah.
And then the last one, just to wrap these up, the leader carries more than they should. And this is endemic. When you're in this spot, you as the leader, you end up in the place where you're the hero. Now, rather than leading, it's heroic.
Yep.
So you're doing their job and you're redoing their work and you're working around their gaps, and you see all of these things, right? And that's an indication all the way 1 sliding to 4 that your alignment is broken, which is that wrong person on the bus, and the ripple effect that causes in the body of your organization.
Yeah. And the word that particularly around symptom number 4 here that you want to pay attention to has to do with alignment.
Yes.
Is if things are out of alignment, think of your car going down the road and you got your front wheel out of alignment.
And you're going down the road like this, sideways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the wear and tear on the tire, as well as the shock absorbers, and on and on and on, the rack and pinion, and blah blah blah. And pretty soon you got a big fix that's going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Better to drive it in a ditch and set it on fire and go buy a new one.
There you go. The task of leadership.
Yeah, I love this. I just love it. And so we pulled old Peter out again today. But in Peter, who is the father of many things. If you're not familiar with Peter Drucker, go get familiar with Peter. But it's not my place to do that today. But the task of leadership is to align strengths in ways that make weaknesses irrelevant.
Yep.
Such a cool,
love that quote,
statement. Oh yeah, just love it. Your job is to go back to that word alignment. Align strengths to make weaknesses irrelevant.
And what I love about this quote is it's an implicit acknowledgement that nobody's perfect. Yeah, we all have strengths and quote unquote weaknesses. But if your organization is set up with the right people, those weaknesses become moot, because everybody's stepping up and actually beginning to pull their weight in a different way. Yeah. Such that this little shortfall is actually irrelevant to what we're doing, because, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in one of the earlier powers of you, where when you've got a high performing team, it's almost impossible to tell who the formal leader is, because everybody is stepping up. There's a high degree of interdependence. I rely on what you bring to the table in order for me to do what I'm doing, and I value that.
Right.
I call it out if it's not there. So that's the idea of alignment. Yeah. The strengths carry the day.
Yeah. Yep. And that's your job, leaders.
Yep.
Your job is to break the code on that.
And speaking of leaders, influencing other people. How do you influence? Well, this is not command and control.
Right.
I want to, both Doland and I are absolutely emphatic about taking command and control out of the leadership conversation. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't have its place. There are moments where you need to be directive.
Yes.
But more than anything else, because this is all energy. It's, organizations are nothing more than people in relationship.
Yeah.
And, there's energy that's bouncing back and forth. Yeah. You walk into an office, you walk into a room, you see somebody walking down the hall, and energetically you go, ooh, I don't think I'm going to, nope, I'm going to back up right now. Now's not the time to talk to her. Or it's kind of like, she seems to be pretty open right now. I think that, so there's an invitation to come closer. That's influencing. They haven't said a single word, but they are influencing through the use of energy. Do you have people in the organization that are aware of the energetic dynamic of the relationships that they're involved with and know how to work with them well. It's not an on-off switch. It's a rheostat. Dial it forward, dial it backwards.
Yeah.
That's how you go about co-creating. It's an invitation to participate. Bring to the table what you can bring. We trust who you are. So bring that to the table, because we trust who you are, because we know when we start moving forward, we're going to be going into unknown territory and we're going to step on each other's toes. Guaranteed. We're not going to be Pollyannish about this.
Right.
Conflict will occur. And you want to be able to be in a position to leverage and work with conflict. Conflict is your best friend in an organization in a lot of ways, if you've got the right people on the bus.
Yes. Yeah.
In pursuit of a worthy ideal. And that worthy ideal is inspirationally defined, not motivationally defined. The distinction being motivation is outside me. Here's the carrot. Here's the stick. That's motivation. Inspiration is, ooh, God, I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. This is so juicy. I want to go do that. I want to go be a part of that. That's inspiration. It comes from the inside out. It matters. It matters to me.
Yeah.
That's the worthy ideal.
Such an important point. A conversation with a family member last night who was going through their annual planning for 2026. And we had the father-in-law conversation, which is, I'm the father-in-law, I asked the stumping question. What's your for the sake of what? What is your worthy ideal? What happens if you do this? And that allows you to have something that you don't have today.
Yeah.
Didn't have the answer.
Right. Oftentimes the answer won't be, because people aren't used to being asked that question.
No, it was a stark, well, wait a minute. Tell me more about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it is that, I love that you touched on it very briefly, which is that, and we'll move on, but it is that difference between intrinsic and extrinsic. That motivation is something I get for doing this. If I get to an outcome, I get this. And it will come or go. I may get it, I may not get it. I didn't get it last time, so therefore it might not be important to me today. But that where the ideal is that inspirational piece that wakes you up, that makes you say, let's aspire to be more.
Yep. Because it matters, and it matters to me in this way.
Yes, not to, we had that, the rest of that conversation as well.
Yeah.
But I love that, because that in leaders, if you're listening, as you listen to this, to think about that from what we were talking about in blind spots and in the symptoms and the impact of those things on these two domains, leadership and worthy ideal.
Yep.
It's dramatic. Oh yeah.
Immediacy with mindset.
Yeah. I generally, what happens inside of the body of an organization, leaders, is there's something urgent that has to be done.
Yep.
We got to get this person. Betty left, just hire someone.
Yep.
Betty's not here. So urgency solves today's problem. Mindset solves tomorrow's. And when you're you're going to be in this spot where you are going to be pressed to fill in the colloquialism in for that in the corporate world is head count.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Head count. I got head count. I got to fill that head count. And if I don't fill the head count, I don't get the money next year. If I don't fill the head count, I'm going to do this. If I don't get the head count, they're going to think my team is too small. If I don't, urgency is a component of that when you're thinking about this. So we're really focused hard in on balancing immediacy. We'll give you some tips on how to think about that here in a slide or two, but urgency solves today's problem. mindset solves tomorrow. Today's person that you bring in will become tomorrow's problem.
Yeah. Yeah. The solution that you bring to the current problem will, by God, it will create a whole scenario that will generate another problem down the road. And that another problem will be very similar to the one that you just solved by implementing this solution. Every
I love that
solution
when we
carries
kind
a
of boot up
problem.
and go, yeah, let me tell you what's going to happen. So,
So what this invites, though, is the need to slow down in order to speed up. The mindset. We've got a whole mastermind that we spend a year working with leaders on.
yeah,
This question of mindset. How do you actually access and recognize, more than access, but recognize the presence of a mindset structure that is inhibiting your success? It takes time to recognize that. So you have to be willing to take a timeout. And I don't mean, get off the field or, stop playing the game, but slow down in order to speed up. Taking the time to define the roles, the traits, the alignment feels slower in the moment when you're doing that, but it prevents months of friction, rework, and turnover. Somehow we always find the time to redo it when we screwed it up.
yeah.
I
Yes, there's the old adage. My buddy owns a I call him the wood refinishing guy to the stars. He goes all over the planet doing people's stuff in their homes. And one of the things he loves to tell his clients is do it right once or pay me double to fix it.
Yep. Measure twice, cut once.
Right. Or if it's too short, cut it again. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Make it two pieces.
Exactly. Just cut it again. All right. And hire for who they need to be. These are I love these because hire for who they need to be, not just what they need to do.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about that in the blind spots and in the symptoms, but it is that ideal. And I love this part, Blaine, because it is that idea that tasks can be trained. Traits, mindset, alignment with your ideals, remember we talked about for the sake of what, leaders, alignment with that for the sake of what can't be trained. There has to be an alignment there.
Yep.
And that's long-term success.
Yeah. And part of that, again, we kind of go back to who's on the bus.
Right.
You need to approach, ideally, as a leader, as an owner, as a manager, the hiring decision with this mindset in mind, that what we're wanting to do is develop our people. This position that I'm wanting them to fill right now is going to be transitory. If they aren't growing beyond the current role, by definition, my organization isn't going to be growing.
Such a good point.
So who are we trying to have them be? At the end of the 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 years that they're going to be with us, or even the next 6 months, who do they need to be?
Yeah.
That will, benefit both them, but also us as an organization, us as a team.
Yeah. Love that. Do the last one. You got it.
Immediacy is a leader's trap. And this kind of, full circle here back to urgency solves today's problems.
Yep.
Ready, fire, aim. Ready, fire, aim. I got to do something. You got to do something. I'm the boss. I'm paid to have the answers. I'm supposed to do this stuff. It's a trap. It's a trap. The simplest one we can look at here is just, the pressure to just fill the job is loud, but the effectiveness long-term has to do with choosing the right people that will strengthen your culture, not just fill the slot so that you can get it off the calendar. Yep, check that box. We hired that person. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Did it by the time we said we were going to do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity. What do you need to be clear about? Well, you need to be clear about not only that worthy ideal and have people becoming clear about that worthy ideal, but you also want them clear about for the sake of what? I mean, what are we doing? What are we trying to do here? What's the role? What's the role, not the position? What's the role that needs to be actually, worked with here? When
Yeah.
you begin to clarify that role, you begin to put in place filters for who you invite into the organization,
Yeah. And
and
know
that
that
takes
answer.
time to clarify.
Yeah. Know that answer. Know your if you're in there and you're trying to get that clarity. So I'm glad you said that, Blaine, because if you're trying to get clarity and you don't know you're for the sake of what, get clear.
Yep.
Get clear because you don't know what you're aligning them to, what you're looking to alignment for.
As a leader, you need to model this. Because
Yeah.
you're going to be, ideally, you'll be asking your people to answer the question, for the sake of what do you want to be a part of this team? What makes it possible? What does being part of this team, what does being part of this organization make possible for you that you wouldn't get at any other organization? Now that question will stop people dead in their tracks. I hadn't thought about that. Well, now's the time to think about that.
Yeah. I'm going to invite you to join me in thinking.
Yeah. And because that's the promise we're going
Yeah.
to make to you when we bring you on board, is that is going to become possible for you. No guarantees, but we're going to true to that.
Yeah.
You need to be clear about what that is.
Very, very important.
And that begins to set you up as becoming a employer of choice.
Yes. Yeah.
The ideal companies to work for are companies that are clear about and invite people to be clear about, for the sake of what? What difference does it make to be here?
Right.
What are we about? What do we get to do?
That's so important. So important. All right. Pressure is loud. Mindset's volume control. Yeah. One of the things that from this kind of the conversation around this slide is, look, we talked a little bit about it before around urgency. You are going to receive pressure.
Oh boy.
And pressure is a misalignment in priorities, right? Let's get down to what pressure really is. Pressure is a misalignment in priorities. And you're going to get pressure from above, right? And they're going to push. And when you are in those modes, the intention behind this slide is to give you just some places in your mindset and to realign your thinking, your responsibility. Pressure from above. We got to get this spot filled. We got to have. We need. There's key words that you're going to hear. Gotta, need, have to.
Yeah.
You have to. If we don't, we're going to crash this thing into the rocks, which is unlikely. But as you're heading into that, to think about the mindset anchor, your place as the leader is your responsibility is alignment, not appeasement. There's elegance and art in that conversation, and trust has to be involved. There's all kinds of vulnerability. There's things that have to occur there, but your responsibility is alignment, not just appeasement to fill the spot, which requires you then to ask questions.
Yep.
And bring forth thinking points that they may not be thinking, because they too are feeling pressure.
Yep. I remember I was doing some work with the CEO of a large hospital system, and they were, a major culture. There were some major turnarounds that needed to be done in the system. And the CEO asked, how much is this going to cost and how long is this going to take? And I said, well, get ready to go to your board, because this is going to take longer than they want, and it's going to cost probably 3 times more than they thought that they were going to be needing to spend. So you need to have your board on board with this, because that pressure, if they don't know what this is about, is going to be untenable for you as the CEO. You're not going to be able to hold the weight. So get clear about what's going on here. And this goes back to alignment.
Yes.
And so we set up a whole way for him to go to the board about this is an alignment issue. It's not about, do you like what we're doing in an appeasing sort of a way.
Right.
Okay? And it was a successful turnaround. It actually worked out quite well. but
Cool.
he was clear enough about this on the front end, which interestingly, pressure from the left, the budget constraints, cheaper hire today becomes an expensive problem tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, being willing to invest, spending is treated as an expense item on the balance sheet or on the P&L. It's an investment. Hiring is an investment. Pressure from the left, budget constraints, a cheaper hire today is, it's a cheap investment.
Mhm.
Becomes an expensive problem tomorrow because now you got to go back to the trough again.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't tell you for both of us in our careers and with our clients that there is a person in the body of the organization whose job it is to protect the money.
Yeah.
And that's their job. Their role is to recognize the value of the money.
Yeah.
Two different things. And it's an indicator with that person in the team when that becomes a protection mode or an investment conversation.
Big distinction.
It gets really important with that. It also helps you understand, team alignment things. Another conversation, another day. And so now you got team alignment challenges.
Exactly. And kind of going back to the position versus the role conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll kind of use some generic titles here, but a lot of times you'll hire a CFO because of their technical expertise, chief financial officer.
Right.
And you don't hire them, or even the chief HR person. You don't hire them because they are a strategic fit. They don't bring a strategic voice. You've hired them because they're going to, in the case of HR, they're going to do the check a box on the compliance issues that you're facing. Or on the CFO side, they're going to be sure that the money's protected.
Mm-hmm.
Not hiring because they're going to be looking at these fiscal assets that we have as a strategic dynamic in the way that we move our organization to greater success. I want a CFO. I want a CHO, Chief Human Relations Officer, that is going to be a strategic partner in the work that we're doing going forward. And that's where that for the sake of what becomes so important.
Oh my. Oh yeah. It's like hand in glove.
Yep.
Literally. And then pressure from the right. So in all organizations, there's a couple of things. Matter of fact, I just was renegotiating this quote, but with one of the quotes that I love in the industry is it's a picture of a person standing on the mountain with a flag pounded and they're looking proud. And underneath it says, someone is climbing your mountain right behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that ability to continue to succeed as an organization. Market pressures, innovation, new products, innovation. We've seen this in organizations over and over and over and over. Look at Apple, look at Microsoft, look at Amazon.
Yeah.
Look at all these these are, three organizations easy to, cherry pick off the tree. But there is that mindset around you can't outrun the market with the wrong talent on the field.
So true. Absolutely true. And particularly and I say particularly, it's the most visible right now with the emergence of AI.
Oh,
the
goodness.
disruption that AI is causing.
Perfect example.
Boy, yeah. You've got all kinds of external demands. Mark Benioff at Salesforce is dealing with this right now. We're going to replace people and have AI. It's kind of like, okay, let's see how this actually plays out. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on in this regard. Yeah, and AI is another question about who's on the bus. Well, my agent, my AI agent is on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Is it what's it doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it aligning with the
Yeah.
other warm bodies that we have in the organization?
Yeah. Remembering that AI does not have the capacity to align with your for the sake of what.
Exactly.
So AI is what AI is. So
yeah,
at least until, well, another, we could talk about singularity another day. So,
but I mean, honestly, I mean, this is, we'll just use AI here. You start looking at pressure from below. where people feel
There you
fear,
go.
where they feel threatened, where they feel as if they don't have a place any longer. Who am I and where do I belong? All of that stuff comes into play,
Love that.
and they start. I mean, it starts percolating from below. So if you're in a leadership role, you've got pressure from the top, you've got pressure from the bottom, you got pressure from both sides coming in. You are in a pressure cooker. And this is why immediacy becomes, more, what's the word I do? More visible. Yeah. The urgency in there. The pressure is loud. How do you mitigate that loudness? Well, it's your mindset. You have no control over external, circumstances. You do have
Yes.
control, and this is Stoic philosophy 101. You have control over your thoughts, your attitudes, the ways that you think about things, the behaviors that you engage in. That's
Yeah.
what you have control over. You don't have control over anything outside of yourself. How do you use that? This is where mindset comes into play very strongly. Influencing in order to co-create coordinated movement. That's what we're looking at from a leadership perspective here. You are on the bus. You are the right person on your organization's bus.
Yeah.
So how you actually leverage that is a big deal.
Yeah.
You become a focal point.
And really, really important. All right. So this is where I wanted to, there's actually I have a graphic of this that I refer to periodically as a
Mhm.
leader. But one of the things is just when you as the leader, likely there are places in your organization where your team is empowered to hire into staff and to do the things that they do. But consistency in that process becomes really, really important. So that you're not doing it a way, your HR department's doing it another way, the marketing director's doing it a different way, your technology person's not doing it a different way. Not that I've ever lived those moments inside of a company.
Read about them in a book.
Read about them in a book, you saw them somewhere in a cartoon. But as you think about it, just some very simple points, which is define the role's purpose. Remember that we talked a little bit ago around for the sake of what, and then we also talked about the difference between the job title and role. But take the moment with a pencil and paper or computer or however you want to do it and get clear. And when someone brings you, by the way, when someone brings you a need to staff to hire, ask them for that document. Show me the role's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What must this role make possible for our culture or strategy and our future that we don't have today? If we extend the rest of that sentence out to the rest of the words that aren't on this page, what must this role make possible for our culture, our strategy, and our future that we can't or don't do today?
Yep. And that's your starting point, is clarity around the role, because now you're going to have a warm body that comes into that role, and you're going to give that warm body a title. Now you're going to put them on an org chart, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It comes into play here, but you want to set this up front. Okay. And you set it up front in terms of culture, strategy, and your future. Not just can they pull a shot.
Right.
That's the espresso machine. Yeah. Okay. For the sake of what are they pulling this shot in this way? That, I want an answer to that question.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then that kind of naturally migrates you to identifying, okay, what are the, and 3 is just, I mean, we just pull a number here, but 3 core traits, because most people can wrap their arms around 3. What traits in this role, what traits would predict success in this role, regardless of whether they have the current or the experience currently to do the job? What are the traits, and do they exemplify those traits? Good listener. Yeah. I mean, they seem to be curious.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a great ability to create rapport with people. So now I've got 3 traits. Now, what do I need? Well, I need a barista that can pull a shot and interact with the customers at the same time, and They invite people to come in. They feel like they're part of and this is Starbucks, part of the
Yeah.
third place. It's a community. They get all of that stuff, but that gets generated out of the traits, not from somebody pulling the lever and getting a 2.5-ounce cup of espresso
Right.
out of that pull.
Yeah. That's so important because you remember role and traits are two different things, right? They're cousins, kissing cousins, but they're two very, very different things. Once you understand those with a pencil and paper before anybody ever talks to these individuals, if someone wants to staff, help them to design these questions, or you design them if you're doing it, if you're the last person in the game. But what behavioral questions do you ask to reveal the traits? And there's 1,000 ways to do this. But one of my favorites is, tell me about a time when blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Tell me, rather than, hey, do you know how to communicate? Yes. Okay. We're done. Can't communicate.
Can't check that box.
Got it right there. So, but use that, because what you're testing for then is alignment to role fit and an alignment to the core traits that you're looking for. And that's hard because most of the time, I'll say it again. We said it earlier. People are looking for skills.
Yep.
When you get a resume and it lists everything they can do, I know Microsoft Excel, I know Microsoft Word, I know Salesforce, I know Todoist, I know this, I know all of that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But tell me about the traits. And then you can test for skill. Because you got to have some sort of skill to get the job.
Yeah. And that's a developmental question. Because, okay, you need training here. Great. We will make sure you get the training you need to succeed in this job. Now that we know that you're a good fit for this from a role perspective.
Right.
We'll fill in the blanks here. And part of that is going to be this last area, or not last area, this next area here, testing for capacity. And capacity here, remember, sustainable success is about developing the capacity to continuously start over. So what's a skill that you've had to develop quickly? So ask them, were you able to start over? Were you able to learn something new pretty quickly in the face of a demand or a need to, throw this out, stop doing that, learn something different, and keep going?
Yeah.
Or did you absolutely get blocked out? Then you folded the tent and went home.
Did you lock up?
Yeah.
I love that. It's one thing, and leaders, we think about this. It's a practical experience. Practical experiences. When you look at a resume and you see that list of skills, you go, "Oh crap, this person knows." That's a technical term. Oh crap. Oh crap, this person knows everything. Look at all the things they know. Look at all this. Is going to be wonderful. This is going to be great. None of the things that they know are the way you do it.
Exactly. Say that again. That is
None
so
of
true.
the things that they know are the way you do it.
Yep.
So you're looking for the capacity to grow. It's thrilling that they may have the fundamentals or advanced skills, but they are not the way you do it. And without capacity, they will not be in alignment. You'll be frustrated. They will be frustrated. There will be a gulf of skills. They will not fit. We're out of alignment. And ultimately, there's a price.
And it's a pretty serious price at the end of the day.
Yeah. When we have to let people go because we missed the mark, we're fundamentally inflicting harm, and it is our fault, not their fault.
So when you're doing this well, I'm not going to go back to the symptom slide. But you score the role for fit before skill fit. Score role fit before skill fit. Do they elevate the role or only fill the job? Key question. I mean, this really is kind of a litmus test question. Do they actually have the capacity to elevate the role? I know what we're starting with here from a role perspective. These are the traits and This is the difference that this role will make to our organization, to our culture, that sort of stuff. Kind of goes back to question number 1 here, defining the role's purpose. Do they elevate the role, or do they only fill the job? So you're scoring for role fit before you start scoring for skill fit. If you score for skill fit up front, all of a sudden the role fit becomes by definition less germane.
Yeah.
And now you got a whole bunch of technocrats that can perform well at a skill level, but they aren't a right fit.
That's right.
And you're dead in the water.
Stuff breaks.
Stuff breaks.
There you go.
So,
who's on the bus?
Who's on the bus? Who's on the bus? Look, boss, the bus, the bus.
I can only think of tattoo. Bus.
Here it goes.
The plane.
So,
Goodness gracious.
When you're as a leader, mindset. I mean, Doland and I, again, we lead this, facilitate. Lead would be a loose term here, but we facilitate a year-long mastermind program.
Yeah.
It's all focused on mindset. And a large part of the application of mindset exploration has to do with how you build your organization. And you build it around fit.
Yeah.
Who's on the bus? Who do you bring in? There's all kinds of stuff that you can do once you get clear about who needs to be here today, and how do they inform who we're going to be tomorrow. Those are questions that are really relevant. And you need to spend a little bit of time up front, beginning to suss those out.
Yeah. Well said, Dr. Bartlett. Well said.
That is this week's Power of You.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Good conversation. Good conversation.
So thank you for listening. I hope this has been valuable for you. I'm sure it has been, just humbly speaking.
Yeah. I'm sure it has to have been.
Let us know.
You'll see our posts, and other times we'll tell you about how to get the
write a comment. Yep. Let us know how it works. Let us know if you got any questions about what we just talked about, because
by the way,
will definitely answer them.
One thing that we've never talked about, as a matter of fact, is when you watch The Power of You, I would suggest that you do that. Show it to your team, share it with your organization, help them become better at what they do. If there's a topic that you would like to see covered, tell us.
Yep.
Tell us. For a small fee, we'll cover any topic. Let us know.
A very small fee. It probably just involves watching us.
I think it's, or a venti Starbucks, since we're talking about Starbucks.
Well, there you go.
Venti black coffee. There you go.
Americano. An Americano.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Folks, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week on The Power of You. We do these every week. So look forward to having you back with us next week. Take care.
All right.